Okay, let's film the introduction while we're working. Well, always a late start it seems for me many days, but that's okay. We just go late into the night. Look at those two pretty ladies ready to work. But, so I have, let me back up here so you guys can get the shot. I've got the last 5 queen posts set up right here, ready to lay out and cut joinery in. This one right here, we've got some of the joinery already laid out in. That was from the last batch. I just had it kind of set off to the side. But we're going to lay all these out at once to try to avoid errors. Now here's a good thing about these posts. I don't know if you noticed when we stood that up, but that through tenon right there, that's laid out to the center. That brace is laid out to the center, and the braces on the sides for the purlin plates are laid out on the center. So what we're going to do, I got one water drip on top of there. Snow's melting off up there. Of course, some lazy bastard could go sweep it off. That'd be cool. But anyway, we're going to get these all laid out all at once. We're going to check our reference faces right now. And this timber right here, this is kind of what I'm talking about with cruddy timbers. And if we're going to have them, this would be the place to have them. Because, well, I'm not terribly happy about it, but because the way they're loaded up, they should be just fine. But I've got 2 sides here. It looks like we got a knot cluster runs right through there. We got another one that kind of runs right here. We got another one there, and let's see why that is. Where's that heartwood on this one? Ha, heartwood's over here. So those knots probably go into that heartwood, but out here, oh, what a crap timber that is. That is a garbage timber, but I got to use it. Unfortunately, I don't want to use it, but I kind of have to. No choice there right now. This one's also a little bit cruddy, but it should be long enough to where we can avoid some of that. You could tell that log had a crown in it, because there's a little bit of grain run out towards the top of it there. But other than that, they're not too bad. That one, the friggin' heartwood's not boxed. That one is, and that one's close. But the 2 outside ones here, the heartwood is not boxed. First things first, I want to do is figure out which direction I want to go with these. I kind of already have them laid out where I want them. So the tops are going to be right here. The bottoms are going to be down there. This timber right here is oriented that way simply because I really don't want to take any strength away from this trying to cut joints where those knot clusters are. We want to keep the joinery up high in these. So that's kind of a nice thing there. But anyway, let's check our reference faces, see how square these things are. It's really tough to pick a reference face, but this side's probably our best side, so we're going to go with this one for our reference. When we get all set up, we're going to have all these reference faces going the same way, because when I'm laying these out, I don't want to make any mistakes laying out a bunch of them at once, because when you're laying out multiple timbers, your one mistake you're going to carry through to all of them. Jeez, look at that. You know, in hindsight, I probably should have milled these myself. So far I have 3 sides that are not square. I mean, it's not catastrophic how out of square they are, but it's not ideal, that's for sure. You see that? That is wicked. Jeez, man. Killing me. Ishmael, you're killing me, buddy. No, that's not his name, but it just sounded good. That right there seems to be the nicest side, so we're going to roll this up. That's the side we're going to use. Well, we might as well start out with this garbage one. Now I've got my timber marking tape here. And what's nice about this, it holds you off 10 inches already. When you don't have a square end to cut off of, and you think you're going to have to remeasure, it's not a bad idea just to put a mark where you had that tape so that you get it the same the next time. Make sure that tape's good and straight on there. These layout tapes are sweet. They really make for a nice, really nice deal. The bottom I'm not as concerned with. We can avoid this knot cluster and have good wood to timber lock down into the tie beams below it. But up here, this is where I kind of want to avoid some issues, because this is where the lion's share of our joints are going to be. So if I go by the layout tape on this, and I'm going to 10 feet 5 inches, I want to see where my brace is going to fall from the 10-foot mark. Now, I'm not going to finalize these marks yet, because if I'm going to be trying to run a mortiser and all that through right that nasty cluster of crap right there, I don't want to use this right here. Now, you got to remember, we got to come back to 9 feet 4 inches. And give us 8 inches in between. And we're going to go to 104 inches. That'll give us our 8 inches of... Look at that. I can't count today. How about that? So from down here, this is where we're going to decide where our braces are going to go. Now, the braces are going to be 29.5 inches from this point. Even though we're using a 30-inch brace layout here, we're still going to go down 29.5. The reason being because it's going to be recessed into a 1/2-inch housing in that tying member across there. So let's hit 29.5 here and see where it falls. So, you guys see where that's going to fall? So our bottom of our brace is going to be right here. And these are just kind of preliminary marks. I'll go through and redo these. The top of our brace is going to be right here. Now all that pressure on that brace is going to rest down here on the bottom and on the face of this joint. You're not going to have any of it up here. It's a little bit tighter to that knot cluster than I want, but I really don't want to have to cut this thing much shorter. Now I got a little bit of room, but I think we're going to run with it, because it's right on the edge. The thing when you're running that chain mortiser into these, especially you're running into a knot, if that thing grips it, you really got to be holding on good, because that can really throw that machine right off. But we're only going into this side, one brace right here. Up here though, on the other hand, we're going to be going 30 inches from the top of this post. So that'll put us at 90 inches right here. Where is our 90-inch mark? Right there. Hit 90 inches, kind of follow it down, and it's going to be right in the top. That's not too bad. Now my only concern here, and here's where you got to pay attention. So by the time we get done cutting these mortises into this 8x8, we're pretty much going all the way through it by the time you get the brace on the other side. So what's going to happen with that, and let's see, 90, we're going to go 98 3/8 because we got an 8 3/8 inch housing. By the time we go through here, we're taking 2 inches of meat from here up to here, right out of the middle of this. So we really need to watch for our structural integrity, and you really want to pay attention to what's around this, because you are removing meat out of the middle. And judging from these knots the way they are, this meat in the middle is going to be Your most important for structural. How much room do we have to go up before we hit another big group of knots? Let's see, we're at 10 feet 5 here. We can move this whole thing up and avoid that knot cluster, and that's what we're going to do. Only problem is I don't want to go too far because I don't want to be trying to timber lock through those knots to hold it down, because it'd be a good spot for it to break out. Let's see what we get. You guys getting motion sickness yet? Well, somebody commented on that when I did that GoPro one. Okay. All right, spin this around. Make sure you get any wahoos in your tape measure out when you're doing this. It's funny how when you go and you think you do this all exactly right to spec, right the way you got to do it, and you still end up with joints that don't always fit beautiful like you'd think they would. At that point, you got to kind of decide to yourself, what do I want to live with? Now, to avoid confusion, because I already have marks on here, we're just going to X those out. Because you know what I will do, I'll end up using the damn things. Now I'm more willing to come up into this knot cluster a little bit more for one brace housing, one 2-inch wide, 3.5-inch deep brace mortise, because I don't have to go all the way through the timber. And our knots are focused mostly on this corner. If you look around the other side, they're not there. But I would rather go through right there than have one all the way through. We're moving this up specifically because I don't want to put a mortise all the way through right here. I'm just not very happy with that. But the other thing that we're going to contend with when we go to do this is we're going to have a knot right here in the middle, right towards the top of our tenon, right there. So here's the gamble we're going to take. Because they didn't do the greatest job boxing this heartwood, I can see a vestige of that knot right there. We're going to take a gamble that that knot's going to go through this corner here, not all the way down to where we got to cut. So let's get this marked out and see what we get from here. After I sharpen my pencil, of course. It's funny, a goofy pencil line, a thick one, can actually throw your whole program off. Kind of good to keep them good and sharp. I usually use the little pencils, but I don't mind using a carpenter pencil once in a while. So, you know, 10 feet, mark it. 10 feet 5 inches. Mark it. We're going to drop this down right here to 8 inches, so 120 down to 112. Come down here another 8 inches, should be 104. This is going to be a through mortise. I'm just gonna, this is gonna be a tenon, so I'll just mark that with a T. And come back down 29.5 inches from this mark. This is my lazy way of not measuring, so we're going to hold off 10 inches. Easy math. We're not going to move the tape measure, right? And we're going to come up 8 3/8 for our housing. So this can be brace mortise, BM, and lastly, what we want to do is mark out our 10 feet right here. This is where we're going to trim. That's her. Now, I do have one more to lay out. Better do it. Better do it. This one's got to be 30 inches. So 120 down to 90. I'm going to go 98 3/8. Now, if you're going to use a pencil like this, keep in mind to keep that thing down so you're running this way with it. Don't go this way because your line will be huge at that point. So we need now this is important too. So you can see that this guy right here is 1/10 over 8 inches, as this side measures out in tenths. That's all right, but keep that in mind when you're laying out from one face. You're still going to lay out your 2 inches, or here it's going to be 3 inches to 5 inches because we're centering this through tenon here. Now when I center these tenons, now it's not going to matter which side of the building these things are on. They're just going to work. Happened there. Got caught on a piece of wood. Okay, so I'll just X that out. And come down. Okay, and I just work my marks down so I don't miss any. And all I'm going to do with this one, because these are going to go down the sides, I'm not going to draw a line all the way across. I'm just going to pop them in there like that. That way I know what I have. But down here, we're going to go from 2 inches to 6 inches off of the reference face. These are our 3 and 5. guys get to watch a guy play with his pencils today. And these lines are a little heavy, but they're really nice to see. I will cheat it. Oop. Did it again on that side. I will cheat my marks with the chisel when I go to lay these out with the chisel. I'll go to the outside of the line because I either want my brace just a tiny bit bigger, or I want either want your tenon just a tiny bit bigger, or you want your how am I trying to say that? You either want to make your mortise just a little bit oversized, and I'm not talking much, I'm talking like a 1/16, or you want to make your tenon a little bit undersized so that they go together. If you make them the exact same size, you're not going to get what you want out of it. You'll be sitting there shaving everything trying to get it down. But so there's one. Well, this concludes our week of vacation, and yay. Back to work tomorrow. Don't get another vacation till the fall, and then we go on the Griswold family vacation up through New England for 10 days this year, I guess I'm told. So that'll be it for my time off. But anyway, we had a really good week, got a lot of stuff done. This video is a layout video. It ran so long in the layout part of it, I decided that was probably plenty long enough, and I really didn't want to cut any of that information out of there on you guys. So anyway, hope you enjoyed it. We're going to try to keep the same pace up with videos again now that we're back on this regularly, now that the weather's a lot better than it was, even though I tell you what, it's kind of blustery tonight, but that's all right. So anyway, thank you for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the week's worth of videos we've been putting out, and if you did, thumbs up, subscribe, comment, whatever you can to help the channel out. I will catch you guys on the next one.